I will add him right now. We'll add Dr. Hello, Dr.
Howdy.
Mark.
How are you? What's going on?
I'm good, and you?
Good. I'm happy. Good. Enjoying life, working hard and playing hard.
Amazing. Such an honor to have you here today to talk to us and learn about you. We're so excited.
Yes, it is pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. So where are you right now?
I am in Hawaii, in Maui. So
Oh,
beautiful.
nice. So beautiful. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you here today is to talk about your new book, The Pagan Diet
The
and
pagan diet,
the pagan.
not pagan. Pagan is not. Very different. This is the
I,
pagan diet, which is a paleo vegan joke, basically.
yeah, so talk to us about that because I know it's a blend of the vegan and paleo diet, but it's totally opposite diets. So how do they blend together?
Yeah, well, actually, the truth is they're not opposite. And the joke is I was sitting on a panel with a couple of friends. One was a paleo doc, one was a vegan cardiologist. They were fighting like cats and dogs. I was in the middle going back and forth. I'm like, if you're paleo and you're vegan, I must be pagan. And everybody
Yeah.
laughed. I thought, oh, that's a good joke. And then I went and thought about it on the way home on the plane. I'm like, wait a minute, they're identical. They're exactly the same. They believe in everything the same except for one thing. Where to get
What?
your protein? Where to get your protein? Animals or beans and grains? Otherwise, they both think we should not eat any processed foods, low in starch and sugar, lots of plant foods, lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, lots of good fats, no chemicals, additives, hormones, GMO, pesticides. I mean, they're identical. They both even agree that we should eat dairy, which is another conversation. But and then they have so much more in common with each other than with the traditional American diet, or we call the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet that's made up
Yeah.
of basically three crops: wheat, corn, and soy. 60% of our diet is processed food.
Can't
And
believe.
it's just like, it's so harmful. And the whole idea of the vegan diet was to sort of bring together the science and common sense into a set of practical principles for reclaiming your health. It's called 21 Practical Principles for Reclaiming Your Health in a Nutritionally Confusing World. And that's what we're in now. People are so confused. Should I be keto? Should I be paleo? Should I be vegan? Should I be raw? Should I be,
Yeah.
whatever, low fat, low carb, whatever. And it's like people are just all over the place. And I realize that, the people who are trying to improve their diet or going to this or that dietary philosophy are usually trying to do something good for themselves.
For sure.
And and so they're not, they're trying to sort of find principles of eating that are actually going to promote health. And the truth is that everybody kind of agrees on the basic stuff in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we should all be eating real food.
Yeah.
Yes, we should be not eating processing food. Yes, we should be eating lots of fruits and vegetables. Yes, we should be eating lots of good plant-rich foods, nuts, seeds. And if we're eating grains and beans, here's the ones we should eat. And if we're going to eat animals, most people agree that we shouldn't be eating factory farmed animals, that they're bad for humans, bad for the animals, bad for the planet. But what about regenerative farming? So there's a whole bunch of really practical ideas in the book about how to actually choose what to eat based on the simple idea that food is medicine. It's
Yes.
not just calories, it's medicine. It's
Mhm.
information. It's like instructions. It
Yeah.
codes your every single aspect of your biology. And it's also personalized, right? So people are like, oh, I'm going to be vegan. And I
Yeah.
believe that, I don't want to hurt animals, or the climate is going to get worse if I eat animals, which that may not be true if you do regenerative agriculture. And I'm like, well, what's good for you? I mean,
Mhm.
is it the right diet for you? I've seen some
Yeah.
people who let their ideology trample over their biology. In other
Yeah.
words, they believe they should be doing something and they try it, but they feel horrible, or they
Mhm.
get really nutritionally deficient. And I would
Yeah.
say the most important thing is to listen to your own body.
Yes. And I know that the book's concept is food is medicine, and that food can either harm us or heal us. So, what are some of the ways that food, in your knowledge and perspective, food can either harm us or heal us?
Well, the bigger framework is the framework of food as medicine through the lens of functional medicine. So
Hmm.
functional medicine sees the body as an entire ecosystem where everything's connected. And in that ecosystem, there's a couple of key systems that are all working together to be either in balance or out of balance, to determine health or disease. So it's your gut, your immune system, how you make energy, your detox system, your circulatory system, your hormones, communication systems, your structural system, and food influences every single one of those. So for example, if you want a healthy microbiome, you need prebiotic foods, probiotic foods, you need polyphenols that come from plant compounds like cranberry, pomegranate. For example, if you, I'll just give you a few examples about this. If you are someone, for example, who is getting cancer treatment because you have a late stage cancer and you're getting something called immunotherapy, a special drug that helps your immune system fight cancer. Well, unless you have this one bacteria in your gut called Akkermansia, you really can't fight the cancer with this drug. It doesn't work. But if you, and this bacteria, you can't take it as a probiotic, but it loves to eat polyphenols, which are one of these 25,000 plant compounds. So it basically eats cranberry, loves cranberries and pomegranate and green tea. So if you give somebody pomegranate, cranberry, and green tea, you can grow this bug and literally cure their cancer, which is remarkable. Or let's say
we're all coming from the earth.
Yeah, and our immune systems are really stressed right now because of COVID and because of maybe eating poorly and all the stress we're under. But there's ways to rejuvenate your immune system through food. I mean, on the one hand, if you're eating processed food and sugar, it's going to harm your immune system. And people who are overweight, metabolically unhealthy, which is 88% of us, actually have their immune system suppressed. And that's why you see, if you're overweight or obese, you're 3 times more likely to end up in the ICU. You're for every raise in your body weight, your risk of death goes up and up in a linear way. So the more overweight you are, the more your risk of death from COVID. And that's because our immune systems are so stressed. So one is you can get rid of the crap, but you can also eat foods that help our immune system. So like I talked about in the book, an example of a powerful superfood that's a special kind of buckwheat that comes from the Himalayas. And this buckwheat is grown in tough conditions and it's full of phytochemicals. It's 132 different phytochemicals, some of which are found nowhere else in the world, that literally rejuvenate your immune system. So you literally can take, and I made pancakes from them the other day, and they're so good. And it's literally like superfood pancakes.
They look so good.
Oh, you saw them? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to make them. I need to make them. They look really
good. They're chai pancakes, so they have all these spices, which are anti-inflammatory, medicinal spices, ginger, cardamom, cloves, nutmeg, really yummy. And you don't have to suffer. And I think people understand that if you have this particular buckwheat, it's some of these compounds in there like quercetin, rutin, hesperidin. These are polyphenols that actually help to rejuvenate your immune system and make you even fight COVID. So that's just a couple of examples. Or let's say you're exposed to a lot of pesticides or chemicals or heavy metals. Well, if you eat lots of certain foods from the broccoli family, like cabbage, collards, kohlrabi, which I love, Brussels sprouts, kale, those all have compounds that boost glutathione and help you actually build the molecule that gets your body to detoxify.
That's amazing. So I have a few questions and I want to cover them as much as we can. You say that insulin resistance is one of the leading causes of chronic disease. So how can we prevent it? How can we treat it through the pagan diet?
Well, insulin resistance is a big deal, right? So we may not have heard of it, we may not know what it is, but all we have to do is look down. And if we look at our belly and we got a belly, or if you stand in front of the mirror and you jump up and down and your stomach jiggles, you probably have it, because it's all the fat around your organs and your belly, and that fat is dangerous fat. That fat literally causes your body to go on fire. It's why when you're obese or overweight, you have so much of this fat, when COVID hits you, it's like putting gasoline on the fire. So the challenge we're having is that like half of Americans are pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, and 60% of our calories comes from ultra-processed food. 133 pounds of sugar or flour are consumed by every American a year, and 152 pounds of sugar. That's almost a pound of flour and sugar every single day for every single American.
Everything has sugar. Almost all processed food has sugar too. So
right.
I saw the other day like these fries. They were like potato fries that came frozen, but they had flour and they had sugar too. And it was like
that's right. That's right. And I mean things that you wouldn't think have sugar, like your ketchup. I mean obviously has sugar, but your tomato sauce for your pasta has more sugar per serving than 2 Oreo cookies.
God.
Your salad dressing, which you think, oh, I have salad dressing. Salad dressing is full of sugar if you buy store-bought salad dressing. So we kind of got to think about quality in food. And it's really why, in my book, The Pagan Diet, I really came up with these 21 principles for reclaiming your health that are super accessible, simple, easy, and practical.
I love that. And I really love the blend of the vegan and paleo diet because for me, I mean, I was vegan for 6 years and it got to a point where it was just not working for me and I needed that animal protein. And this led me to research on what are the best sources and where can I source it for where that it's good for me and good for the planet. So I love that you talk about regenerative farming because I feel like it's something that not a lot of people are talking about.
That's right.
A solution not only for health but also for the climate and for the earth.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, we sort of live in a binary world.
Hmm.
Paleo's good, vegan's good, paleo's bad, vegan's bad. Cows are good, cows are bad, meat is bad, meat is good. It's like, and the truth is, it's important to focus not on the bigger sort of category, but on the specifics. So for example, all meat is not the same. If
Hmm.
you have a regeneratively raised grass-finished cow, it's good for the environment, it's good for you, and the animals have a nice life, And I think, yeah, we think, oh, we're killing something, but people don't realize if you're a vegan, you're killing 7 billion animals a year just by growing vegetables because, in your cabbage patch, there's rabbits that get run over and birds, 50% of bird species. This is from normal agriculture.
Exactly.
And right, and even if you're growing organic food, people don't realize you're growing organic vegetables. I was visiting one of the biggest rooftop farms in America in Brooklyn on the top of a Navy Yard, and they had all this beautiful soil and organic vegetables, and it was like awesome. I'm like, okay, well, how do you take care of the soil? Like, oh, we put on bone meal, and we put on oyster shells, and
Yeah.
like so you may be a vegetarian, but your broccoli is a carnivore. so so we really have to sort of be honest about it. But the thing about regenerative meat is that one, we know that by eating these types of meats, one, it's much healthier for you. So there's lower amounts of omega-6, more omega-3s, more antioxidants, more vitamins. But what's really interesting is that they have these phytochemicals now. I just literally was reading a paper this morning called can't read it backwards, but it says health promoting phytonutrients are higher in grass-fed meat and milk. Meaning if the cows or the animals are eating all kinds of varieties of plants, like of different grasses and plants, 100 different species, they're taking all these chemicals into their body. And those chemicals are becoming part of the meat. So there literally are phytochemicals that you think only are in plants in meat. And
Mm-hmm.
they can be as high levels sometimes as plant foods.
And
So
all that from animals too is so beneficial for our bodies, and it's not the same as eating nuts or seeds. Only using those sources as fat or avocado. It doesn't.
yeah, it's true. And the problem is, as we get older, your muscle requirements are more. You need more protein as we age, and I think this is really clear from the research that if you want to age well, you need to have enough protein to keep your muscle because muscle is the thing that keeps us young, and without muscle, we can decline, degrade, and we become more inflamed and more pre-diabetic. Even if you're skinny, you could be skinny fat. You look thin on
Yeah.
the outside, but if you lost muscle, you're fat on the inside, and it's the same risk or dangers as being fat. So I think
Exactly.
people have to get that it's really about understanding the ways in which all food is not the same. If you, for example, even just take a grain, right? So if you have let's just take another example about meat. If you have a kangaroo meat,
Yeah.
that will reduce inflammation in your body. If you have feedlot meat, that will raise inflammation in your body, gram for gram of protein. So it's not so much that you're eating meat or not. It's like what meat and what vegetables, right? If you're
So what?
eating,
So I have a question. So what about for people that don't have access to, say, grass-fed meat or wild-caught fish, easy access? What would you recommend there? Like if someone was in between eating like maybe a grain-based meal or a animal protein meal. Um,
yeah, it's tough right now because not much of this farming or agriculture is regenerative. So we're moving towards that. But I think, there are ways around it. And you can, for example, right now with online shopping, you can go to direct to ranchers
Yeah.
and buy, for example, you can buy a whole cow with a group of people, have
Yeah.
it shipped to you, split it up, put it in your freezer, and it's less per serving than a McDonald's hamburger. Okay. So, you might have to do a little more homework than just going to some fancy butcher and getting a big grass-fed steak, but you can get access to cheaper forms of these things online. That's for sure. And then it's sort of hierarchy. You have to do your best. Like if you can't afford it, you do your best with other things that may be healthier, like sardines or herring or mackerel, really cheap. I mean, I think I eat a lot of that stuff, and you can get great protein from that. So you don't necessarily have to. I get wild caught salmon, canned salmon from Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
All that's really pretty awesome.
Finding ways to do it. And I think looking into it, maybe not basing it off of the supermarket that's next to your house, like looking at other options. So I have a question on that. You have a chapter on mood. So I know that 2020 was a very rough year for all of us mentally. How does the vegan diet help with mood and our mental health?
Well, what we realize is that food plays a huge role in our mood. So people who eat sugar and starch and processed foods, they're more depressed, they're more anxious, they have more violent behavior or aggression. The data is really clear on this. There's a great trial called the SMILES trial, which looked at swapping out, it's a great name, right, for depression study, swapping out processed food for healthy food. And the results were as good as any other intervention
Yeah.
for depression. They've shown, for example, with prisoners, if they swap out healthy food for the bad food in prisons, violent crime goes down by 60%. If they do it in juvenile detention centers and give kids healthy food, disruptive behavior and violence goes down by 91%. Suicides go down by 100%. I mean, if you think that there was a drug that could cut suicides by 100% in teenagers, which is the third leading cause of death in teenagers, right? Think about it. If we could have a drug that would do that, it would be a blockbuster. But now we have a drug. It's called food, and it
Yeah.
works. So I think people should not underestimate the importance of during COVID of
Yeah.
taking care of your health, of getting rid of this poor metabolic health, which can be done very quickly. It doesn't take years. Within a few weeks of changing your diet, your metabolic health is greater, your immune system's greater, and not only will you lose weight and feel better, but you can improve your mood, obviously, but you can really upgrade your health so that you're doing so much better in this face of COVID, and your mood will be so much better.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts in the gut. So if your gut is healthy, then your whole body is, and it's by what we eat. So I love
Yeah, for sure.
food as medicine. Food is either helping our health or harming our health. So just one last question here before we wrap up. I know that, for everyone who wants to start, I think getting the book is number one because knowledge is power. So I highly recommend that you guys check it out. And then also, what are your thoughts on this keto diet, autoimmune paleo diet, and how does the vegan diet differ from all the other diets out there? Why is the vegan diet better?
Well, it's not better or worse. It's just it's very inclusive. So the idea is that we're all in these diet wars and we're fighting with each other, and we should be focusing on what we agree on. What are the
Yeah.
principles, right? So what are the foundational principles of vegan diet? It's meant to be inclusive. It's meant to be adaptable to personal preferences, cultural preferences, dietary preferences, taste preferences. So it's very inclusive, and it doesn't really eliminate anything except for one thing, which is things that aren't food. So Skittles are not food.
Yeah.
They're a food-like substance, Twinkies are not food. Coca-Cola is not food. So it basically eliminates all the things that aren't really food and has people, eating real food. And I always joke and I say it's very simple. Eat the food that God made, leave the food that man made. Did God make a Twinkie? No. Did God make an avocado? Yeah. Pretty easy. Even a 3-year-old can understand that.
Yeah.
And right, and that's a good place to start. And then, we look at the foundational principles. So if whatever your diet preferences are, whether you're vegan or paleo, whatever you want to eat, the idea is focusing on quality. Quality, quality, quality. Food is medicine, and personalization. Those are the key principles of the vegan diet. And so you can eat a wide variety of dietary preferences within that. And I think it's super important for people to not get stuck in these ideologies where they go, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. Listen to your body. Try different things. But
Yeah.
in the book, I go through it very clearly. If you're going to eat meat, where do you find the best meat? If you're going
Yeah.
to eat dairy, how do you eat the right dairy? Maybe you don't want to eat regular feedlot dairy. You want to eat cow or goat or sheep, or maybe you want A2 casein. If you're going to eat grains, don't eat these grains because they have all these problems. Eat these grains. If you're going to eat beans, eat these ones. If you're going to eat fruit, here are the best ones. And so I go through every single thing that you might want to eat, and you can include incredible medicinal foods in your diet very easily by just following these principles. And it's really, I think, my favorite book that I've written, because it's so accessible, it's so practical, and it gives people really news to use and tools that sort of give them flexibility without getting stuck in a rigid framework of eating.
Exactly. And it's not about, I think, a dogma or have to eat this way. I love what you said at the beginning. Find what works for you and just be, and I believe, and I've experienced it too, when I remove all processed food, I'm better able to notice what sits well in my stomach, what doesn't sit well. But I think the foundation is knowing is, and I think a book, I mean, I've read books that changed my life completely. And this is definitely one of them, that if someone is in the search for what to eat, how can I heal my body, how can I boost my immune system, I think this book is like the best one, because it's very practical and it's for everyone. It's not just for
Yeah,
vegans, not for meat eaters, it's for everyone. I mean, we all eat about we all want to eat a balanced, healthy diet.
that's fun. Great.
Yeah.
I just saw a friend of mine jump up. Sophia. Hi, Sophia, from Toronto. It's fun. It's fun.
Oh, can
Uh,
you share again, please? Because
What? Oh, yeah, sure. It's the Pagan Diet. People go to pagandiet.com. They can actually get access to over $500 of bonus foods that my friends who have companies like Thrive Market and Paleo Valley have offered to share with my crew. So if you want to get an extra, you can buy the book. It's I don't know, $15 on Amazon. But if you want to get $500 worth of extra yummy, delicious food that fits within the Pagan Diet principles, you can just go to pagandiet.com, buy the book there, and you can register. And also there's great videos and other content there as well.
and then it has recipes and everything in there.
Oh
So
my God, the best recipes is pagan chai buckwheat pancakes are the bomb. We just killer brunch the other day with some friends. It was so good.
that looked amazing. So everyone go get the book, and I can't wait to hear everyone's testimony. I know that it's going to be a success. And thank you so much, Dr. for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the content that you're constantly creating every single day and sharing with us.
I'm so happy. Thank you for what you're doing. It's awesome.
You're changing lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Vana. Take
Yeah.
care.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys. Well, thank you so much for joining on the live. Go get the book. And I'll be sharing this live on my Instagram. So I'll keep it here so you guys can go back to it. Bye.